Good morning, everyone. Happy Wellness Wednesday, and welcome back to another live Q&A session with Rose Natural Wellness. My name is Adelaide, and I am a certified nutrition and wellness consultant with Rose Natural Wellness, and I help with specializing in the education as well as the personalized guidance surrounding women's nutrition and wellness. So I'm really excited that we're here today. And today I have a big special topic that we're really going to dive into that is often not covered in our traditional school curriculum, even when you go to the doctor's office or work with other health professionals. This is a topic that seems to be still kind of shrouded in a little bit of mystery, and unfortunately, that many women do not learn about throughout the course of their lives. So, this topic is all about the menstrual cycle. So, we're going to learn about what exactly the menstrual cycle is and how it works at just a basic high level. That way, we can understand the nutritional impact that goes along with women's monthly menstrual cycle. And this is so important because, again, most women do not learn these sorts of topics in school or from their doctors most times. They're often kind of left on their own to do their own research outside of school and outside of doctor's visits. And that is really unfortunate because the menstrual cycle is something that is completely unavoidable for most women, and we all have it. So it's really important to understand what it is, how it works, and most importantly, how that impacts us nutritionally, because there is a big difference. And when we can better understand how the menstrual cycle works, we can better understand how it's impacting our body on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, and what kinds of nutritional needs will shift during this period of time. So everyone is welcome. Please feel free to post your questions in the chat box. I'm more than happy to answer them. And again, no matter what stage of life you're at, this is still very important information for us to understand. It may help you or a friend or a family member to be a little bit healthier. So whether you are somebody that's maybe into perimenopause or menopause, or if you are a man out in the audience, you can still get a lot of really good information from this topic. And especially, I encourage any men that may be watching and tuning in to really ask these questions so that you can better understand how the menstrual cycle specifically impacts women and how you can do your part during that time frame to help support the women in your lives. So let's just kind of dive into what the menstrual cycle is and a little bit about how it works. So, obviously, if you don't know by this point, the menstrual cycle is the approximately 28-day cycle that women go through every single month. And at the end of it, they have their period, or I guess at the beginning, depending on how you look at the breakdown of the cycle phases. But essentially, this is a pretty complex sort of process, and it's split into four unique, distinct phases. So the first phase is typically regarded as the actual menstrual phase. So this is the bleeding phase. It typically lasts about 1 to 5 days. It may be a little bit longer or a little bit shorter for some women. Definitely shouldn't be shorter than 1 day. That's not a period. But some women may find that they are experiencing their menses for closer to 7, maybe even 10 days. It is a very broad range, but typically 1 to 5 days is that menstrual cycle phase. So this is where the uterine lining is shedding, and many women find that their energy levels are quite low. So they may not be as social as they are typically feeling throughout other times of the month. They may not feel as active or energetic. It may be more difficult to perform athletic activities or exercises in the gym during this phase. There's also typically other sorts of symptoms that come along with this that can make this period of time uncomfortable. These are things like back pain and cramping. Cramping and back pain go directly hand in hand. They're affecting the same section of the body. So if you're having low back pain, you may typically be experiencing those cramps as well. So that's very common. A lot of different food cravings are very common during this phase as we are expending a lot of energy and a lot of our nutrients to make this period happen. So we'll dive into a little bit more about like what that looks like and how we can support our bodies during that phase. But I want to move on to the second phase of this cycle, which is called the follicular phase. It kind of overlaps with the menstrual phase because it does start on day one. So it's also kind of this primary phase of this menstrual cycle. So you can kind of consider it either part one or part two in terms of those phases. But in the follicular phase, this is where the body is rebuilding. So your estrogen levels are going to rise. That is a female hormone. Men have it as well, but it's very prominent in females. And the estrogen is going to rise. Your energy will start to build as your body is rebuilding that uterine lining and kind of getting back to a baseline of homeostasis. So, this period of time typically lasts about 1 to 13 days as that uterine lining is really rebuilding and we're getting ready for the body to produce an egg. So during phase three, this is our ovulatory phase. For most women, this is going to occur around day 14, but it may occur a little bit sooner or a little bit more delayed in that process, just depending on your unique body. But this is where we experience the peak of the estrogen levels, the peak of the energy levels. And this is where women enter the phase where they are able to become pregnant if they are not on some sort of birth control. So ovulation is very important. We see that energy level rise, the body releases the egg, energy is at its all-time high. You're probably feeling pretty energetic, pretty happy, positive, more social. That's typically what many women experience during this period of time. Then, as we head into the second kind of half of this process, we're talking about the luteal phase. Some people refer to it as the luteal phase. This is approximately days 15 through 28, again, give or take, depending on the length of your particular cycle. But during this time frame, we see progesterone rising, we see energy levels starting to fall, mood shifts begin to occur, we experience more cravings, more bloating, and many women also experience kind of weird dreams during this time frame. And all of this has to do with the rise and fall of the different hormones that we're experiencing during this time frame. So this is leading us back towards our period where the cycle will restart once again. Okay, so typically most women on average will experience a menstrual cycle that's somewhere between 28 to like 32 days, give or take. A 28-day cycle is considered the typical average, but it may be less, it may be more, just depending on your body's unique needs. But this is where nutrition is really going to play an absolutely crucial role in this process. Because as we know, nutrition fuels absolutely everything that our bodies do from a cellular level. So it's really important that during this major changing phase that we are really supporting our bodies with healthy whole foods to make the process more comfortable, to make the process more aligned with our body's needs. And for anybody out there that really experiences menstrual irregularities, things like missed periods, very heavy periods, very light periods, or anything that's kind of abnormal to the typical normal that we see, referring to menstrual cycles, one of the best ways to address any abnormalities or possible imbalances is to really start with food first. You'll find that this is a very common theme that we talk about, but the food that we eat is extremely powerful because it's directly giving our bodies the instructions that it needs to perform all of the tasks that it has to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So it's extremely vital to fuel our bodies with healthy whole foods, and the body will typically most commonly naturally heal itself from the inside out, which is really cool because we're giving it all of those little pieces and tools that it needs to be able to perform the different restorative, growing, healing tasks that our bodies need to do in order to be in balance. So, the menstrual cycle is one of the most important phases and processes in the human body. So, it's really important that we're fueling our body with healthy whole foods to support that process. In health and wellness, we often refer to this concept as your period being your report card because it demonstrates to you what happened in the previous 28-day cycle. So you can tell based on some of the different sort of symptoms that you're experiencing or not experiencing during your menstrual cycle, kind of how you did that month in terms of taking care of your body. So if you find that you're experiencing horrible cramps, awful acne, headaches, weird dreams, disrupted sleep, and it's just a complete mess, you may need to look at the previous month and think, what did I do to put my body out of balance that it's reacting in this way? And as you start to make changes, you will see your periods begin to change. Now, we're on a 28-day cycle, so it's not an overnight fix, but you will see those trends over time as you make these positive changes in your health. Your period is going to reflect that. So I cannot overstate how vital the importance of nutrition is in regulating our hormones and achieving more comfortable menstrual cycles. All right, so let's dive into the nitty gritty of what nutrition specifically does to support this process. So, first, we'll talk about the menstrual phase since that's typically touted as kind of phase one. During the menstrual phase, women are losing a lot of blood on a daily basis as the body is realigning and trying to rebuild that uterine lining after shedding the previous one. So, during this time, it is incredibly important to focus on iron rich foods. Iron is going to replenish the red blood cells that we are losing, replenish those iron stores to keep our bodies very healthy and on track. And what we find very, very, very commonly in many women, a lot more women than you would really think, it's pretty staggering actually, is that many women are deficient in iron. And this can often manifest as severely as a true iron deficiency anemia from not getting enough iron, not being able to produce enough red blood cells. But it can also be low level where women are just at a suboptimal level of iron that deeply affects their bodies. So I cannot emphasize enough how important these iron rich foods are. So these are going to be things like especially red meat during this time frame. Red meat is incredible for boosting our body's iron levels and it's very readily absorbed in the body. So if you eat meat, I would highly recommend that during that menstrual phase, you really lean into eating more red meat to help replenish those iron stores. Now, if you want some additional options, or if you're somebody that's not very keen on eating red meat, we do have some other great options in our plant kingdom. So, our leafy greens, especially spinach, are going to be amazing for this. Beans and lentils, of course, are going to also be a really good option. And I will say that if we're leaning more into a plant based iron option, really try to pair that with some sort of vitamin C, like an orange. That way, it will help with the body's natural ability to absorb those nutrients into the body and be able to restock a little bit better. Now, during the follicular phase, this is where we're starting to feel pretty good coming out of that low energy place from the menstrual cycle. And we may be feeling like we're wanting things that are a little bit lighter, more fresh foods, particularly fruits and vegetables, are going to be absolutely key during this phase. They're going to provide us with a huge, broad spectrum of essential macro and micronutrients and just really help give our bodies all the tools that they need to rebuild that uterine lining into this next series of phases that we will encounter. So, very good option to lean into fruits and veggies and lean proteins like chicken, turkey, steak, fresh fish. These are all great options. Now, during ovulation, we want to really emphasize hydration. You're at the peak of your energy levels, so you're likely being more active, and that can really impact our fluid balance levels and our hydration. So, we really want to lean into that. Antioxidants are going to be huge for promoting that healthy ovulation and keeping your body healthy. And then we have zinc as well. Zinc is a key mineral that has a vital role in helping to produce and regulate our sex hormones. So, zinc is going to be absolutely key during this phase. And you can find zinc in good, sufficient amounts in pumpkin seeds as well as various seafoods. So, if you're somebody that likes oysters, during ovulation is obviously a great time to go out and get a nice plate of oysters. Now, moving on to our luteal phase, this is the final phase of our menstrual cycle. So, we really want to support the body with a mix of complex carbohydrates and high magnesium. Our body burns through magnesium like crazy. It's involved in over 300 different essential bodily processes. And during that luteal phase, as the body's really revving up to get ready for menstruation, it is really burning through all of that magnesium at an all-time high. So we want to really focus on some different foods like sweet potatoes, healthy whole grains, nuts, dark leafy greens. Pumpkin seeds are going to be another amazing source for magnesium as well as iron. So I really recommend any ladies out there to incorporate pumpkin seeds as a part of your monthly routine. Now, as we support the body with healthy complex carbohydrates and sufficient protein, this is really going to help with addressing any cravings and balancing the mood, as we have all experienced those beautiful, lovely mood shifts that we get during the end of the menstrual phase. All right. So, those are my main tips in terms of some specific foods at specific times that you really want to emphasize and incorporate. Now, the other thing that would be really helpful is especially as you get towards your luteal phase and your menstrual cycle, we really want to make things as easy as possible, knowing in advance that your energy level is going to dip. So, we really want to emphasize some good meal prep to really assist during this phase. So, some snacks, even that we could prepare in advance during the luteal phase, would be something like nuts plus a fruit and a protein. So, maybe almonds with little squares of cheese and some dried cranberries. Excellent. Captures all of our essential macronutrients and it provides some really good balance. Now, during this cycle, it's really, really important to pay attention to your body's needs. Every single person is completely different, and we all experience these triggers and cues from our menstrual cycle differently. So, there's no one size fits all, but start to really pay attention to what occurs for you and what kinds of things happen during that phase so that you can start to understand and plan ahead. For example, if you find that your energy level dips and you get really, really, really fatigued during the week of your period, it would be a great idea to plan in advance and have healthy foods and snacks on hand, meal prep, a couple of meals. That way, you just make it really nice and easy on yourself. You may find that you experience heavy chocolate cravings. So, you may want to look at some healthier options like our very quick protein mug brownie that we have on our website under our recipe articles. So that's a great option to incorporate in as a healthier alternative to still satisfy those chocolate cravings. So as you start to pay attention to the different signals and signs that your body is experiencing, you will continue to learn more and you'll be able to better adapt and nourish your body in the ways that are meaningful and necessary for your body's unique needs. Now, if you are really looking to learn more about what kinds of specific foods can help you to achieve your health goals, we do have an entire article dedicated to the top 10 nutrient dense foods for women. And that's going to be on our website. We also have it linked in the description below. And if you're ready to get started with personalized guidance that is specifically tailored to your needs and your unique health goals, please consider working with us. We are open and booking clients left and right. So if you want to be part of that process and learn how to elevate your health with real food nutrition and a team that truly cares and will walk with you every step of the way, please consider booking a free discovery call with our team. It's absolutely completely free and it gives you the opportunity to decide if we're a good fit to help you so that we can also get to know you. And if it feels like a good fit, we can get started working together. So I really encourage you to schedule that call if you're interested. That's going to be over at rosenaturalwellness.com/discovery-call. And the link is also posted in the description as well, or on our main page on YouTube. You can also interact with us on Facebook and Instagram. We regularly post brand new content on a daily basis, and we would love to interact with you and answer any big questions that you have related to women's nutrition and wellness. So, thank you again for tuning in today's Wellness Wednesday live Q&A. Again, I'm Adelaide, and I am looking forward to presenting a new topic with you next week. Have a healthy and happy day.